Hello everyone, welcome to the show today. My name is Spencer Walsh. We got a good one for you as always. Today we're talking healthcare, Russia, or not Russia investigations, but just investigations in general, and we're talking Brexit on the show today. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Thursday. We are almost there. It'll be fun. By the way, the show's going to be on at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Just fair warning for everybody who is going to want to tune in on that at that time if they want to tune in live, because obviously our show is live if you can catch it, really, because I swear to God, we on different times each and every day. But the president is taking a victory lap here as we start off on the front of the multiple investigations that he's facing, as Robert Mueller's probe closes without finding criminal conspiracy between his associates and Russia, but new details power up uncovered from Michael Cohen's recent closed-door testimony before the House Intelligence Committee serve as a reminder the president's legal troubles are far from over. It's nothing major, but yeah, we need to still remind ourselves that the president is not out of the woods yet. But he is, granted, he's out of the woods on a pretty big aspect, which is the collusion and conspiracy charges that he faced of Russia. So pretty much what happened is that Michael Cohen claimed earlier this month, when he talked to lawmakers in the big blockbuster testimony, that Trump submitted a false insurance claim regarding fresco on the ceiling of Melania Trump's bathroom. So he said it was damaged, but it really wasn't. He got the payment in, and apparently did that a lot. Also, he had some pretty fresco styles. Trump Tower is apparently famous for its fresco style ceilings, according to real estate experts. So yeah, the painting located in Trump Tower was apparently damaged by steam, the sources said. It remains unclear what evidence, if any, Cohen had to corroborate his allegations of fraud. The timing of his alleged insurance claims is also unknown. But still, if he is, that's what Cohen told lawmakers, and if he's lying or not lying, it could be actually quite consequential. But again, it's just somewhat more evidence of the fact that, yeah, Trump's a sleazy rich guy. It'll be all very interesting, if that is true. So lawmakers are looking to Cohen's claim, which would be the first example of insurance fraud that has surfaced following public testimony that Trump often exaggerated his personal wealth and financial documents provided to banks and insurers that, I think AOC was asking him about in the public testimony. Over in New York, state regulators subpoenaed the Trump organization's longtime insurance broker, Aon, in March. The move came after Cohen's public testimony on February 27th before the House Oversight Committee. Cohen described how, according to David Fahrenthold of the Washington Post, he says that Cohen described how Trump sent exaggerated statements of wealth called statements of financial conditions to journalists, potential lenders, and insurers. So he would lower them. He would lower them when he had to pay taxes. He would raise them pretty much for anything else to make himself look important, to make himself more likely to get a loan and all that stuff. So that's how he would do it. For instance, if Trump wanted to pump the value of an office building, he would simply multiply its actual rent by receipts by a multiple. You make up the multiple. Cohen testified. In other cases, according to copies of the statements obtained by the Washington Post, Trump exaggerated his wealth by leaving things out, saying, quote, when we were dealing with insurance companies, we would provide them with these copies so that they would understand the premium, which based sometimes on the individual's capabilities to pay, would be reduced. So, yeah, that really kind of sucks. It's a really sleazy behavior. Make your insurance premium higher. That does kind of suggest the fact that they jack up prices on poor people. So yeah, if over base rape or whatever. So the AP's Jeff Horowitz reported on Trump's questionable insurance practices back in 2016. Trump said he received a $17 million insurance payment in 2005 for hurricane damage to Mar-a-Lago, his private club in Palm Beach, but the AP found little evidence of such large-scale damage. 2 years after a series of storms, the real estate tycoon said he didn't know how much he'd spent on repairs, but acknowledged he pocketed some of the money. So yeah, he's been pulling this weird stuff for a long time. So yeah. Again, by his own admission, Cohen has lied to lawmakers. He pleaded guilty to lying to Congress about the Trump-branded project in Moscow, and while he's provided information to Mueller's Russia probe, Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in prison for making false statements to Congress, as well as tax evasion and campaign finance violations involving hush money payments to 2 women who had alleged affairs with Trump, which we pretty much know now that happened. So yeah, disputes over the veracity of Cohen's claims are fueling a political fight over whether lawmakers should take Cohen at his word. But I think what's interesting here is they're also corroborating evidence of other times where he did the same thing from media reports as well. So that does add a little bit to credibility. But meanwhile, on the Hill, House Democrats are requesting a decade's worth of Trump financial records from the audit firm Mazars USA after Cohen accused Trump of inflating his worth to mislead lenders and insurers. The request from House Oversight Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings was sent last week. Comes after Cohen testified in February that Trump exaggerated his net worth when he tried to buy the Buffalo Bills in 2014. Statements he sent to Deutsche Bank as well throughout his career. And the grand jury does continue. A grand jury that worked with Mueller in Washington is continuing to work on related matters, including an ongoing investigation of a mysterious foreign state-owned company that refused to comply with a Mueller subpoena. So that's what they're trying to do now. The grand jury has not been yet unconvened, from what we know. So the revelation, while laced with uncertainty, indicates that the ongoing cases Mueller handed off after this concluding probe could still feature some pretty significant developments, according to legal experts. So we're going to definitely have to keep an eye on that, although the Mueller investigation's over. There are definitely other possibilities that, many people in the Brooklyn left media have said from the start that are probably going to be more likely to bear fruit for those who want to see Trump down. All right, so anyway, just one day on, going on one day since the GOP would apparently, according to become the party of healthcare, as Trump says. Trump is now pressuring Republicans to come up with a replacement for the Affordable Care Act. So the GOP, they're trying to focus on health care in the coming days as we get ready for 2020. And Democrats are like, yes. Yeah, so it's all going to be pretty interesting stuff. So that's a request the GOP considers unrealistic in a divided Congress and politically perilous ahead of the 2020 elections, according to the Washington Post. So, yeah, and I wonder why. Can we just talk about why for a second? Because they don't have, and they know it at this point, they know they don't have a healthcare plan that anybody likes right now. At least any normal average person that wouldn't come up to a town hall and say, "You're taking away my healthcare, you stink," and be a big deal. So, yeah, that's all going to be very interesting. So, Trump spoke yesterday with David Perdue on Tuesday evening. Anyway, listed priorities in a phone call to Senator John Barrasso on Wednesday morning. He says he wants to preserve people being able to get their insurance through work and focus on people with pre-existing conditions. The president's also focusing again on lowering the cost of drugs. Yet a gaggle of Trump allies all urged the president unsuccessfully against pushing for the court-ordered invalidation of the Affordable Care Act. They included HHS Secretary Alex Azar and Attorney General William Barr, Vice President Pence, and Trump's friend, fixer, and Candyman, according to a new report, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. The unheated council, which McCarthy recounted to follow lawmakers of recent days, was first reported by Axios, according to the Washington Post, and underscores the angst that is set in among Republicans now that Trump is pursuing the politically precarious strategy with no plan in hand to replace President Barack Obama's signature healthcare law. McCarthy has complained privately to donors of the GOP's attempt to gut Obamacare, including its most popular provisions such as protecting pre-existing conditions, with the main reason the party lost 40 seats in last year's midterm elections. Yeah, I don't think so. The fact that you tried to replace it at all that was the problem, because you replaced it with something that was awful, and you took away healthcare that people had. It was actually quite good. So Trump has boasted that he's kept his promises. Mulvaney and Grogan argued. So this is Joe Grogan, Mulvaney's head of Domestic Policy Council. But there is at least one GOP senator, other than Lindsey Graham, eager to tackle the issue despite the lack of an Obamacare replacement plan, and that's Senator Mike Braun. He says, definitely with no equivocation, the Republicans are going to lead on health care. And when he was walking out of the room, he shook his hand, talking to Trump, and said, "I'm glad you're doing it, and I want to be a part of it and help craft it if you need help from me, DNA Republican told the Post in a phone interview. Braun conceded that there's currently lack of specifics from the White House and lawmakers on the bill, saying, quote, we didn't know that it was going to be the forefront issue from the White House until yesterday, so that was a surprise to everyone in the conference. But he believes the Republicans will be competitive in 2020. They need to start tackling hard issues. I guess that makes sense. But, yeah, hard issues that I think we all know they really, really don't have a firm footing on right now. So that's going to be an important thing to see how far they go and if they actually try to propose anything and if there is some sort of popular resistance to it. And boy, oh boy, they're going to... the thing is, they're actually going to have to play nice. They can't just come up with a blatantly awful proposal. They're going to have to put something in their Democrats' leg. But the question is, will the Democrats accept it? And the answer is probably, I hope not. Because it's not going to be good. I just know it isn't, because why would they do anything good? Yeah, on the border, Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McAleen says a breaking point has arrived as an unprecedented surge of migrants have left holding stations dangerously overcrowded. So that's a little disturbing. So Nick Myroff and Maria Sacchetti of the Washington Post report that from El Paso, that Kevin McAleen, commissioner of the CBP, said that for the first time in more than a decade, his agency is reluctantly performing direct releases of migrants, meaning they're not turning them over to ICE, they're not detained, they're just allowed to leave with a notice to appear at court at a later date. So yeah, that is going to be for the first time, really for the first time in more than a decade. So that's what they're going to do. So yeah, McLean's statements reflect the growing desperation among Homeland Security officials faced with a border influx that is on pace to be the largest in more than a decade, led by Guatemalan and Honduran asylum seekers who arrive with children surrendered to U.S. agents. McLean said his agency currently has more than 13,000 migrants in its custody, so I don't know if they can do that. He says the high number is 4,000. 6,000 is a crisis level. 13,000 is unprecedented. So the problem is they're not even just trying to get in. They're just saying, okay, you can take me because I just can't do this. It's not working out for me. So yeah, we're going to definitely keep an eye on that situation. Possible violations of their imprisonment to come, which is definitely going to be very, very disturbing. All right, finally, we are talking about Brexit, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, the House of Commons could not produce a majority for any of the 8 Brexit proposals put forth by members in order to break the impasse. Prime Minister Theresa May told the fellow Conservative Party lawmakers on Wednesday that she was prepared to resign before the next round of Brexit negotiations, with the EU offering her leadership post in an effort to persuade hardliners to support her unpopular plan to exit the bloc. May's offer persuaded a few conservative rebels to commit to supporting the twice-defeated plan May had already negotiated, but she might fall short of having enough votes to push through the deal in Parliament. So the Tories are like, I really, really hate your deal, but I also really want to see you go. So, like, what do I do? Yeah, that's the crazy situation going on in Brexit right now. They have delayed. I do believe they have delayed the leaving. They're not going to be leaving tomorrow, which is when they were originally scheduled to leave. So that seems to be where we're headed on that front. But yeah, so nothing really there is far from. It's far from settled. Let's just put it that way. All right. So yeah, it's just about. We're good for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. You just got the world in 13 minutes, 55 seconds. We'll see you tomorrow.